from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
And we begin with a crime alert in Pacific Beach. A man badly hurt in a fight a week ago has now died. Good evening, I'm Riel Creighton. 10 News reporter Hannah Mullins tracking the search for his killer.
I've been going through the Facebook comments. People are saying they're heartbroken over the loss. They're also talking about what happened over there. It happened the Friday before last, just after dinner time. Someone called the cops saying there was a fight in Motel San Diego and someone had a knife. Police went in and found Joaquin Tuttle in bad shape. They say someone sliced his head, slashed his arm, and he had blunt force trauma to his rib cage. Now, first responders took him to Scripps La Jolla, and he was a fighter, clinging to life for a full week before he passed away. Right now, cops are looking for his killer. In Pacific Beach, Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
Well, 10 News will stay on top of this story and bring you any updates on the search for his killer on our newscast and on our mobile app. Well, there's new video of a bizarre incident in Vista this morning. Deputies say the man walking into this 7-Eleven near Calvary Christian School bit a deputy. Video shows the man pouring a full 2-liter bottle of Coke over his head before leaving the store. Deputies say they found him at a nearby church clutching a flagpole with blood on his face. They thought that he might be on drugs and tried to detain him. They say he fought back and bit the deputy on the leg. He was eventually arrested for felony assault and being under the influence of a controlled substance and violating the terms of his probation. Well, meantime, San Diego police looking for 2 armed robbers who took a cash register and money from a taco shop in Nestor late last night. Police say the men pulled a gun on the workers at Victoria's Mexican Grill on Coronado Avenue and demanded cash. They grabbed the register and took off in an older, dark-colored van. Well, there are new developments now. The city has lifted the closure at Windansea Beach. They say the tests today show the water is clean after a sewage pipe burst on Thursday, spilling more than 1,000 gallons of sewage into the ocean. But there are still some dangerous conditions along our coast. And News Pinpoint weather anchor Jennifer De La Cruz tracking the strong rip currents and some very big waves.
Yeah, those big waves have been out there all day long, as they have been all weekend long. That beach hazard statement has been extended through Monday night now. It started on Friday, and now it's going to take us through tomorrow evening as well. High surf, strong rip currents through tomorrow night, waves of 3 to 7 feet. So we got 7-foot waves in the South Bay right now, so do be mindful of that if you are hitting the beaches tomorrow. Our temperatures right now 65 degrees in San Diego, 63 in La Jolla. That's a big change from where we were at this time yesterday, by 8 degrees in some areas, almost 20 degrees in others. So I've got the rest of your week forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, we'll wait for that. Meantime, a small earthquake rattling the California coast. The USGS says a 3.6 magnitude quake hit near Santa Barbara at around 11 o'clock this morning. People reported feeling it some 60 miles north of Lompoc and as far south as LA County. There have been no reports of any damage or injuries. Well, the family of a high school girl allegedly kidnapped by her teacher is speaking out. 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas was reunited with her family in Tennessee on Friday. Authorities found her teacher, Tad Cummins, holed up in a tiny cabin in a remote part of California. Her father says after a month, he was starting to lose hope. Her family says she will need to go to trauma therapy.
I mean, sometimes she'll be happy and laughing and back to the same old girl, and then she'll be sometimes just in a fetal position crying.
Cummins is now in federal custody and facing a long list of charges. Taking a child across state lines alone carries a 10-year sentence. He'll go before a federal judge in California tomorrow. But there are new developments with North Korea reaching a new height after the country made threats against the San Diego-based USS Carl Vinson. In a state-run newspaper, North Korea said the country is prepared to, quote, show its military force by sinking the Vinson with a single strike. The state newspaper claimed to have weapons that can reach the U.S. And this morning, an American citizen was detained when trying to leave the country. The man is a professor who was working in North Korea. It's unclear why he was detained. Well, a new look at how Americans view President Donald Trump today. An ABC News poll showing where he ranks among other presidents and where he is scoring points. This coming as the administration gets ready for a big week. ABC's David Wright is in Washington.
As he approaches the first big milestone of his administration, 100 days in office, President Trump is pushing his agenda hard.
We're going to defend our workers, protect our jobs, and finally put America first.
But Trump starts the week with the worst approval rating of any modern president at this point in his term, just 42%.
The really bad news is no president has ever finished his first term going into a re-election with a higher approval rating than he had at his 100 days.
The good news for Trump, that Democrats have a popularity problem too. The new ABC News Washington Post poll finds that 2 out of 3 Americans say the party is out of touch. Trump's core group of voters stand by him. 96% of them say they'd vote for Trump again.
We'll be having a big announcement on Wednesday having to do with tax reform.
This week, the president plans to unveil his long-awaited tax reform package, promising the biggest tax cut ever.
This shocked his own top advisors. The idea had been floated a few days earlier. They had agreed that they wouldn't do it yet, it wasn't ready, and then they heard him say it.
The other big issue this week, a looming government shutdown. Trump's border wall is a major sticking point there.
I can't imagine the Democrats would shut down the government over an objection to building a down payment on a wall that can end the lawlessness.
Today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions defended the president's request that American taxpayers begin paying for the wall, despite promises that Mexico would pick up the tab. That issue, a non-starter for Democrats.
As I said, if the president doesn't insert poison pills that both Democrats and Republicans oppose or try to, there won't be a shutdown.
David Wright, ABC News, Washington.
Meantime, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra hitting back at the White House, saying that California is not in the business of deportation. The White House sent a letter demanding that California and other areas enforce federal immigration law or risk losing federal grants.
I can understand why any dreamer or any immigrant family or anyone on the streets who's policing our streets to keep us safe is uncertain about what Donald Trump and Attorney General Sessions are talking about.
Becerra says the Constitution gives states the right to decide how to police its citizens. Now to a developing story. Protests in Paris broke out following the latest French election results. Emmanuel Macron and Marie Le Pen now will advance to the second round of voting. There were 11 candidates in all. Macron says he'll be the president of patriots in the face of terrorism. The far-right radical nationalist Marie Le Pen pledged to shut down the borders and leave the European Union.
What do you think it would mean for France if Marine Le Pen won?
I don't know, but I don't want to know.
French voters went to the polls under a state of emergency and heightened security. Just days after a terror attack in Paris, rather. The next vote will be held in 2 weeks. New today, a 102-year-old woman still trying to fulfill her dream. San Diegan Ichiro Kubota finally made it to a Padres game with her family today. 10 News reporter Jessica Chen there with her one wish.
Her family wheeled her in right through these gates, and for the 102-year-old woman, it was her first time here at Petco Park. She tells me it's been her dream to meet Ichiro Suzuki, and he was playing here today.
It was a family outing for the Kubotas.
Different.
And for Ichiro Kubota, it was extra exciting.
She said that she is excited and thrilled just to come to Petco Park.
Her daughter, Yoshio Kubota, organized this trip for her mom, who was 102 years old. She says her mom is a huge baseball fan.
Because she's been a baseball fan since, I guess, 1950s, 40s, and 50s. And so she remembers a lot of players.
Yoshio says she believes one of the reasons why her mom is still so healthy is because of her excitement for the sport.
Keeps active, mentally and physically.
And she says it would be a dream for her mom to finally meet her favorite baseball player, Ichiro Suzuki, in person. He plays for the Miami Marlins, who play the Padres today.
Well, because she has been following him since he's come to the United States.
But instead, another surprise.
That's for you.
A signed baseball that made her eyes light up.
Very happy.
Though she didn't get to actually meet Ichiro today, she says she's not disappointed one bit.
Yes, she's very happy, very happy.
Because she is here with her family, her children and grandchildren, and is able to walk away with a bonus, a gift she can take home and enjoy for years to come.
I asked the family if they plan to come to any more games here. They tell me nothing planned yet, but it wouldn't be out of the question. At Petco Park, Jessica Chen, 10 News.
Oh, a recall alert now that you need to know about before you reach for a bag of chips. Frito-Lay recalling some Lay's kettle cooked chips and Miss Vicky's cooked chips. The recall only affects the jalapeno flavored varieties. A supplier says a batch of seasoning may be contaminated with salmonella, which can be deadly for young children, elderly people, or people with weakened immune systems. We have all of the details on the recall on our website at 10news.com. Today, San Diegans remembering and honoring Holocaust survivors and victims. The Jewish Federation of San Diego County hosted the annual Holocaust Memorial Commemoration event. Hundreds of people gathered at the Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center in La Jolla. Holocaust survivors were there with family members. Janet Klein says some of her relatives did not survive the concentration camps.
It's something that should not be happening again, and unfortunately it happens again and again in the world. All I'm thinking is what these people that survived went through that I cannot even imagine.
6 million Jewish people perished in the Holocaust. There's new video of a terrifying and deadly crash on a California freeway, how a runaway tire ended up slamming through a father's windshield. And cracking down on distracted drivers in the South Bay, the big push to keep our roads safe.
We're cooling way down heading into your Monday. I'm tracking gusty winds and overnight fog coming up in your 7-day forecast.